Hi, this is Koshal with SecureGuard Consulting. In this module, we'll be looking at some examples of phishing attacks and talking more about what we can do to recognize a phishing attack. You'll notice through these modules, and even in this module where we're focused on showing samples, we don't show too many samples. The reason for that is that in our view, showing examples can have some negative effects. What we've seen is that when individuals are shown samples, instead of creating awareness in what to look for, generally those looking at samples start to look for those specific types of emails that were sent, the format and things like that. As an example, we'll be showing a specific USPS attack that you see on the screen right now. It's important to recognize the elements of the attack and not the fact that this specific attack is from USPS, or that this specific attack is asking you to print the shipping label, or the format and the layout of this particular attack. For this reason, we'll continue to discuss the underlying mechanisms that hackers use in phishing attacks, and any social engineering attack for that matter. Emotion. We really want to focus on emotion because it's at the heart of most of the phishing attacks that are out there. All that being said, it's important to look at least some examples. And if you see on your screen, this has a glaring example here. And one of the things you want to train yourself to do is when you get an email address, look at the from address. So you see the from name says USPS. And then in brackets, it has the actual email address that it's coming from. It's important to always look at the actual email address as well to make sure they both match up. Occasionally what you'll see is the from name will be an email address and we won't look further. Always look at the from name as well as what's in the brackets. And if you can't see the brackets, talk to your IT administrator and understand how to find that information. The next thing we see on this email is that it's a generic email and it's asking us to click a link. And if you notice, it's telling us our company's carrier could not make the delivery of the parcel to your address on 2nd October. Now this is meant to create some type of urgency or panic that we weren't able to get our delivery. So again, that's the underlying emotion, is urgency and panic in this email. This next attack is meant to illustrate a different attack. It's not an actual attack that was run, but it would come from a bank or your bank and ask you to please update your account information. And if we notice, it's providing a link. Is this link a legitimate link? Would your bank ever provide you with the link? Hopefully your bank will never provide you with links asking you to click on anything. And then we notice it says please click on the above link to our website and confirm or update your account information. If you do not do this within 48 hours of receipt of this email, you will not be able to use your first generic bank account for 30 days. This is the sentence that's there to initiate that feeling again of urgency and panic and possibly even fear of not being able to use our bank account. This next example is an email from Amazon, which was an actual attack that was used at one time. Notice at the front, again, the first step is to look at the from name and the email address there. And if you notice, Amazon is the name that they're saying it's coming from, and they're saying it's coming from the specific email address of management at, and notice the A is missing in Amazon, amazoncanada.ca. The A is missing. These are clear red flags to always be looking out for. Also, if you notice below, Amazon would normally have your account name or at least your last name, and instead it's saying Dear Client. It's a generic, non-personalized greeting. The next thing to try to do is obviously, like we shown in the last module, hover over the URL and see if it's actually going there. This one is actually redirecting you to a different website. Here's another Amazon example. Attention, the subject line read, attention, your $150 Prime credit expires on 12/28. Now we have, again, the from address. And you notice the trend in these examples. Look at the from name and the from email address. Do they match? For example, Amazon update. Does it match to Amazon update at efficiuscrbays.xyz? It doesn't. And so this would be immediately flagged as a phishing attack. Another example that we see in front of us is an email that has a number of different things to look out for. First of all, again, that from email address, we've got Shell Lottery International. And if we don't look any further, we assume that this is actually from Shell Lottery International. But we look further and look at the actual email address within the brackets, we notice that it's coming from a different address at yahoo.com. So we can stop at this point. Anytime you see this kind of discrepancy, it is safe to stop and delete the email, or report the email to your IT administrator and delete the email. Do whatever is in the bank's or the organization's policy, but this would be a phishing email based on this alone. Additionally, there's inconsistent information with yahoo.com. It was mailed by, signed by, and we see spelling errors. Instead of signed, we see the word side. Spelling errors are used for a variety of reasons. Sometimes they're used because if we misspell things, we have the ability to bypass spam filters. Spam filters are the things that protect your email address. They're the automated routines and tools that are used to try to automatically identify phishing attacks to make sure you don't have to go through this decisioning process. However, no spam filter is perfect, and it's very, very easy to get around spam filters. And one of the techniques of getting around those is to misspell words in the subject line and within the body of the email. In this case, this was most likely simply a misspelling. A lot of times we have hacks and phishing attacks coming in from out of the country where there's poor grammar and poor spelling, because English is not their first language. Additionally, you'll notice with all these here, it's actually asking you to download a .doc file or a .pdf, a Word document or a PDF file. These could very easily be ransomware, and with the spike in ransomware that we've seen in 2016, we only anticipate it continuing to grow in 2017. Attachments are very scary things to download, and we should always make sure we know exactly who they're coming from and that they were coming for a legitimate purpose prior to doing any type of downloading of an attachment. So information security is everyone's responsibility. And what we have to realize in the above emails is that they all had some emotional component attached to them. Whether it was urgency, panic, fear, greed. And by greed, what we're talking about is when, for example, a Macy's gift card or an Amazon gift card, one of the above examples was offering a $100 reward. Anything we're getting for free, anytime we feel excitement based on an email, anytime we feel fear that we're going to lose something or lose the opportunity to do something, anytime we feel that the email is creating some sense of urgency that you have to act now by clicking the link or downloading this attachment, these are the triggers we really need to look for in order to prevent ourselves from being attacked. Understanding the basics of what is in a URL as far as the from name and the address associated with the from name, looking for generic greetings, and all of these other techniques are important. However, we want to make sure that the first step is to recognize if we're feeling any emotion. Curiosity is another emotion. It could simply be an email from a malicious source saying click here. And what's been happening, or what has happened in the past, is many of these attacks are floating around where they hijack the contact list of a friend or someone else who has you on their contact list and then send out the same email to all those contacts just saying click here from that email address itself. So it's a spear phishing attack, but it's a curiosity attack. If you're feeling curious, feeling any type of urgency or panic, any type of excitement or greed, fear, any emotion, that is the first step to understanding when it is a phishing attack.